Hey, recording is up. I'll just be a minute or so. I'm looking for something to talk about. Audio seems delayed, so I'm gonna have to turn it off.
Alright.
Okay. Really general thing at the start there is just maybe be a bit more towards mid-range. We can go over things more in depth after we're done, though.
Alright.
Okay, very nice. Potentially there as well. High ground wouldn't have been a bad option either. Closer to the start of fight, maybe coming around like right side so that we can maintain high ground would have been also a good option.
Alright. I don't like the positioning here, but I was trying to get away from the Genji behind me.
Okay. In that situation, if we're trying to be a bit sneakier, it might be a good idea to like not try to bait the monkey back on us. Maybe just ignore the monkey, try to find a pick on a squishier target. Rather than baiting, like shooting at him, and that draws his attention, and then we're just dead because of that. Uh oh. Make sure keeping our eyes ears open, potentially sliding away from him. It's difficult for him to keep up with you if you're sliding away just because of the high speed of it.
Alright.
Nice shot. All right, I like that we kept shooting along with that as well. Been watching your tech videos, or it's just a great intuition either way.
Yeah, I am really new to Sojourn. I just started playing it last
Hmm.
couple days. I was mostly playing Sombra
Hmm.
previously.
Uh-oh, make sure you're watching for that. Very easy to dodge out of the way. Even if we weren't even using our slide, it's a very slow ultimate. In terms of from the time you see the projectile and hear it, you'll hear large warning sounds, like it sounds like nuke sirens. And then
Yeah,
you see those drop on top of you. So make sure you're just looking to get out of it. And then we also had slide active, which would have been the even faster way to get out of it.
yeah, I heard it. I thought I was out of the circle. Like I
Hmm.
was just using my peripheral, and
It's
it
it's three
looked like I was
circles.
out of it. Oh,
It's
alright.
3. Yep, he drops
I didn't
3.
know about that. I just saw this. That was bad.
Okay, nice pick. During that fight is another easy opportunity to take high ground. Even like now, we could have been going high ground while we're cleaning up these guys. Now, of course, they're pushing past it, so we could have dropped. But just noting that high ground's fantastic positioning, which we'll talk more about after we're done here. But we're not really utilizing it as much as we could be. All right. Just really far forwards, potentially using slide to try to get past them and get it back to your team. We just ended up getting picked because we took too long to back up. Now, in general, very, very general, maybe we can go more on this afterwards once again, but make sure we're looking to cut back on deaths because we have a lot of easily preventable deaths. And really, when it comes to Overwatch, lot of your value on DPS is going to come out of like your KD, right? Like you can do a lot more if you're dying less and getting more kills, and that's kind of a lot of the time how you're getting value is through getting kills, and then you get more kills when you're dying less.
All right.
And next time we get slide, we can maybe slide up to this next high ground above us. Might give us some better positioning for the fight. There you go. Good job using cover. Okay, we'll maybe go over some audio awareness stuff as well after we're done. But make sure we're keeping our ears open so that the Symmetra isn't just walking on top of us. We're not noticing her until she's on top of us. Because the faster we're hearing her footsteps and noting that somebody's on top of us, the faster our reaction time's going to be. We might have a better chance of winning the duel. We might be able to back out sooner if we feel we're in danger, that sort of thing. Okay. Make sure when we're ulting, a lot of times we're going to want to make sure we have our team here with us because I think we're missing like half our team there, which just meant they couldn't really create space for our ult.
Yeah.
And also, like, we're going to have so many resources put up against us. We're not going to have team support. It's an we're walking back into an already lost fight at that point. Oh, well, we lost. Oof. I thought they C9 for a second, but then they did push it really far. All right. I
Yeah.
am streaming. Don't hop into a game quite yet. We're going to go over a bunch of different things here in the training range.
Alright.
All right. So, let's go first. Let's just go over a couple different Sojourn techie things that I feel like could be helpful if we're either
We're in this together.
noting that they exist
All
or
of
using
us.
them more frequently. Firstly, are you aware? I mean, I'm not. I'm gonna assume not because I wasn't really seeing you utilizing it at all. But Sojourn, how her gun is going to work is that when she, and also just make sure are you able to spectate, able to see.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. When you are using your primary fire, right, not your railgun, it's going to have 9 straight bullets, and every bullet after that will have spread on it. So notice how when I start
Yeah.
shooting, how I'm going to be on target, and then the rest are going to be off target, and then the rest start spreading out. And then you're gonna be missing a lot of shots afterwards. So maybe it's easier to see back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then they spread out. You can see them kind of going all over the place. That's just going to make your shots very inaccurate at ranges. So therefore, at the further away you go at longer ranges, you're going to want to do bursts of 9. So it looks something like this, where we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right, where we're doing these taps, so we're keeping our shots straight.
I actually read about that, and then I asked someone actually yesterday, and they told me not to worry about it because it's not that much.
Yeah, no, it will make a difference at your longer ranges, especially when we're dealing with especially considering we want to be hitting headshots, right? A lot of these are gonna be hitting body
Yeah.
shots if we're far away. If you hit the first 9 shots at longer ranges, then you're gonna be fine. But usually you're not gonna stand still into your shots, and
Yeah.
you might even already be holding it down. I would generally adhere to this, as you know, I've even seen higher ranked players using it and whatnot. It's just going to be super useful the further away you go. Now, the range of which I'm still kind of working on, of like where should you start using this, is because it's kind of hard to measure that in the practice range where they're standing still.
Yeah.
Say I'm thinking maybe once you get to once you pass medium range to long range, that's when maybe you should start to use that, implement it, or at the further end of medium range to use it, because you do want to be hitting those headshots over body shots. Yeah, let's see. So that's one of the things that I would just get into the habit of doing, is tapping
Alright.
your shots and just looking to go for those headshots. Next thing would be just a quick jump. Noting that you can just slide into a jump pretty much immediately, and it's just going to be an easy way to take high grounds and things like that, which I didn't really see us taking high grounds too often. So just using that, right, to get up to high ground. Didn't really see us using high grounds real often, which we'll go over in a moment, of like why you want to be taking high grounds, but that's just a really easy way to traverse and get vertical mobility without really needing to put much time or effort into it. Then we'll talk about your E usage in a moment. What else is there? Yeah, okay. So let's talk about positioning. So I did notice that you had a really good cover usage, which is fantastic. I think that the level of bronze play has greatly improved from Overwatch 1, because everyone in that game did not look bronze if we're going by like old, standards from a couple years ago, or whatnot. People definitely are doing much better, including you. Cover usage was really good. I noticed that we were using it when we were dueling people and whatnot. But high ground usage could use some work, so let's go over why high ground is so fantastic. Firstly, the entirety of high ground, if you're using it properly, and if the high ground's half decent, not every high ground is going to be fantastic, but most high grounds act as natural cover. So enemy, where we see people, now we can't. People, now we can't, right? It's just all acts as natural cover, where they can see you, now they can't, and therefore you have more survivability. On top of that, 2/3 of the characters in the game can't reach you without taking the stairs, which is additional survivability. Additionally, on top of that, the ones that can reach you need to use abilities, and then that means that once again they're going to have less to chase after you after they get to you, which adds more survivability. finally, on top of that, or not finally, but this is one of the other points we're going to go over for the moment, is you have a ton of visibility from up here. We can see over here, over here, over here, here, and here, but when we're on a low ground, well, now we can't really see over there, can't really see over there, we can't really see the high ground all too well, so we're going to be lacking the ability to shoot at things and kill things if we're on the low ground. So, therefore, take high grounds whenever they're in the fight, whenever they're an option. Rotate there in between fights when you have a lot of time to. Go there with your slide jump, just because it's really easy to attain them with that, even mid-fight. And that's just going to give you really good positioning that will allow you to stay alive longer and also give you better angles for actually killing people. All that makes sense?
Yeah.
Alright, range. Let's talk about Sojourn's range for a second. So, Sojourn, as a character, what would you define her ranging as? If you had to, you can do close to medium, medium, far.
Probably like effective is medium-ish.
Yep. Effective, preferred range is medium. And let's define medium range. Generally speaking, roughly 1 to 15 meters is close range. 15 meters to 30 meters is medium range. And then beyond 30 meters is usually longer range. I noticed too many times that we were going to longer range, whereas we probably want to be sticking in our medium range, which is going to be our 15 to 30 meters. And this is for a plethora of reasons. First, we don't want to be getting too close, because there's other characters that do close better. Right, that one's hopefully obvious. I didn't see you sprinting into their team too often, which was good. Maybe once in a while we did, which we want to be careful of. But, there's going to be Reaper and Ryan and May and Junkrat, etc., who do that better. Now, if we start going too far away, well, we're going to run into issues. Firstly, we're going to run into the issue of, like we talked about before, spread, which is going to either just mean that we're missing more shots, or if we're doing the spread tech, we're going to now be having a slower fire rate, right? Which is going to be an issue. Closer ranges, you don't have to worry about that, because no matter what, you're hitting all those headshots. But further away you go, we're just going to be firing slower. Additionally, the further away we go, I believe you suffer fall-off damage. Let's see if we can count this. Medium range, we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that's hard to count because there's so many. Alright, see if we can do this one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, 12 shots to kill.
Yeah.
We come back a little bit. Do like 10 meters further back.
Just check the bullets in the gun, by the way.
Yeah, okay, that's fair as well. But alright, so at this range, same thing. Okay. It's possible that since they're projectiles. Oh, is it because they're projectiles? Alright. Same thing. Okay, so apparently Sojourn does not have fall-off damage. That is pretty good. So Sojourn doesn't have fall-off damage, which you don't have to worry about. But at the same time, that doesn't change anything because of the fact that, firstly, you have the spread. Secondly, on top of that, the further away you go, projectiles are inherently harder to hit. It is going to be more difficult to predict where people are going to be. So it being a projectile that has travel time, really fast travel time, you're going to have to worry about. Yeah, are right clicks projectile? They look projectile, but it's possible.
I'm pretty sure right click is hit scan from what I read.
Hit scan. So that's weird that she doesn't have any fall off damage. Alright, I wasn't actually full ammo. But yeah, in any case, the other thing is that they're going to be really tiny characters. Yeah, same thing. Alright. Other thing is that they're going to be really tiny characters further away you go. Tinier characters are harder to hit, right? So overall, medium range. I saw too many times where we were far range, and that just is going to mean that you're not hitting as many shots as you could be. E-usage. I think it could be getting used much better. We were kind of just tossing it out there, and it just not really hit anything a lot of the time. When we were using it, we kind of have a large variety of ways that we can use it. Generally speaking, if you know it's going to go past somebody, don't try to hit somebody with it. Try to hit the floor so that it stops on top of them. Oftentimes, we kind of just fire it straight off. and then it would either miss or go past or whatever. Next thing is with your E, you can use it to primarily, if you want to make sure you're firing it ahead of where you know they're moving. So they're moving left, you fire it left, moving right, you fire it right. Make sure we're looking to get it on top of big groups of people. Use it in duels, so it's going to be really handy if you can, if somebody's diving you, to just plop it on top of yourself and just have it damaging them, because you can melt people really fast inside of this. Use it when you're securing kills. I'm not sure if you've been if you've watched other videos on this sort of thing, but when you are coming into a fight, right, into a duel, you can slide in, pop your E down, and melt people really fast, and then even combo that with your railgun, and you're gonna be able to secure duel kills faster. So you have it, like I said, for a couple different reasons: defense, dueling, spamming with it, and I'd say just most often we would kind of just toss it and it wouldn't even really connect with anything. So just make sure we're looking to make sure it's connecting, putting more effort into how we're using it. Yeah. Do you know your breakpoints with your railgun?
No, I do not.
You do not. Okay. So.
Well,
Mhm.
I do know, like, I think 70% is for 200 and 100 is for 250, but other than that, I don't know anything.
Yeah, so it's not 70%. It's actually going to be 82%, because notice 80% is in one tap. Right? So let's
I
do
guess
that
the video I
again.
watched was wrong then.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 83%. I think it's 82%. Is what it is for one tap on a squishy target. Now, if you're in a duel with a squishy target, right, and let's say you're already shooting at them to get up charge, well then what we can do is actually do this much faster, right, because we've already charged up. Let's see, it's 50%, 50%, right? So you can actually do that 50% if you're doing the damage to them to get it. So in a duel, we can actually use it really fast. We can do something like this. Oh, I totally messed it up because I was in the middle of sliding. Alright, let's see if we can do that again, right? So if we're in a duel, we can actually do it really fast and just shred them. So make sure we're just looking to use it faster in a duel. And
Yeah.
of course, it's still something to get used to, because everyone's getting used to it, even me. Alright, all that making sense so far?
Yeah.
Yep, alright. Then let's see what else is there. So let us talk on... What else did I have in mind here? Said we were going to go over... Okay, we were doing over high ground. Why don't you start queuing up for a game, and then we'll see if we have some more to go over while we're in between queues. Let's talk about survivability for a minute. Oh yeah, we're gonna go over audio awareness too. Audio settings. Let's just check out a couple of those real quick. Firstly, make sure your master volume loud enough. That's subjective because everyone has different system volumes. Music volume should be off or down, which when listening, I think you already have it off, if I'm not mistaken. I
I have
didn't
it as
see it.
7.
Yeah. Then besides that, make sure you have surround sound enabled. Hopefully you already have that from your days in CS:GO and Valorant. But that's just important. If you don't have it, then it's an in-game feature in Dolby Atmos for headphones and spatial audio. Then also final thing I'd say in settings would be enable play sound when enemy eliminated, play sound when teammate eliminated. This is essentially going to be an audio version of kill feed, where it will give you ping sounds when teammates and enemies are eliminated. Additionally, it will be different sounds per teammates or enemies, and then also it'll be differing in pitch depending on how many are alive or dead. So it's just extra info to help you out and pay attention to. All right, so you're in a game. Let me
Yeah.
get over and take a look. Okay, but besides that, you could have really you could have all the settings be great and have terrible audio awareness if we're not actively listening and paying attention to footsteps and gunshots and abilities and ultimates. So make sure we're keeping our ears open for those.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if the audio is any better this time around. All right, synced up. Oh,
Ouch.
watch stepping in front of the shield. Potentially could be like sliding up to that like top left box, getting on top of it, taking the high ground. But we want to really look to cut back on our deaths. Okay, once again, maybe if we're looking to close the distance, getting over here, exactly.
Recalculating.
Oh, make sure it's not hitting the floor
Yeah.
before it hits stuff. Oh. Firstly, be prepared for people to come and try to duel you and contest you. Make sure trying to pay attention to the people flanking us. Additionally, once again, we probably could have tapped Zenyatta way earlier. We're kind of holding on to the railgun, and then that just kind of let him get away.
Yeah.
Okay, good dodge of that. Nice shot. All right. And that fight potentially could be looking to use their ultimate sooner, because the sooner we're using our ult, the more value ults get. Ults that are used first generally get more value than ults that are used second. Um, by the time we're using ult, we could already be dead or lost the fight. So generally want to be looking to use ults at the start of each fight. All right. About so far, it's looked like about like 80% of our deaths have been to just a lack of awareness of our surroundings, right? Because somebody pops up, we don't know they're there,
Yeah.
and we're dead, right? Watch standing still there as well as another thing. Look to just kind of int in right now because it's overtime. Uh, Even if it's you don't think you're gonna be able to touch, it's you kind of want to just go for it because then maybe your team can stagger on. You kind of have that 1 in 100 chance, which means every 100th game you might win it.
Yeah.
But you don't really have anything to go off of if nobody touches point. Um, yeah, so most deaths are coming from awareness. We will talk about awareness after we're done and over here. Um, and we'll go more in depth. We'll also go on about into application after we're over. But generally speaking, make sure we're trying to pay attention to our surroundings, keeping our eyes and ears open, looking around, doing a 360, listening for enemy footsteps, that sort of thing. Because most of the time when we're dying, it's because there's the Junkrat who's dropping in our head or the Hanzo flanking behind us.
I do. I do have one question related to sound.
Yep.
So I have night mode on, which one person told me it's harder to hear footsteps.
In night
Do you
mode,
know? Yeah.
um, no, I've not that I've heard, like, not that I know of. That's the night mode, just
Do you
meaning that
do you use night mode?
night mode. No, I don't use night mode, but night mode is just turning the blue light into red light, right?
No, night mode's the actual sound and option.
Oh,
Yeah.
night mode. I didn't know that was a new sound mode. Night mode, audio mix, night mode.
What do
Um,
you use?
let me check real quick. I think that I use sound audio mix. I use headphones.
I'm sorry.
Studio reference night mode. Interesting.
It basically evens out a lot of sounds and it makes some other sounds more noticeable for playing at night at lower volumes.
Hmm.
But I heard that it makes footsteps sometimes harder to hear.
Hmm.
So that
Okay.
might be why I'm not hearing them sometimes. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that probably be a good idea to try testing out. Okay. When you're down HP, request healing. That way you can just get it up sooner, so you're not going to be out of the fight for as long. Okay. Okay. There we kind of took a long rotation and hiatus out of the fight while the fight's still happening,
Yeah.
which is just going to mean that you can't leave an impact, and then therefore you can't win the fight if you're not leaving the impact.
Yeah.
Okay, can you press tab real quick? All right. Oh, 6 deaths. Okay. So we're gonna go over deaths, awareness, survivability, real quick. Once again, don't hop into a game quite yet. I don't know if we're gonna have time for a full another comp here. Okay. So let's talk survivability real quick. So survivability is really important. Obviously, everybody knows that it's bad to die. Dying is bad in every which sense in every game and whatnot. But let's go into why it's bad to die. And we're dying frequently, but we're also dying in easily preventable ways. So like we've been talking about, there's footsteps. But let's talk about, yeah, I kind of am going flippity floppity here. Why it's bad to die. Generally speaking, when you die, it is 10 seconds of respawn time, but not just that, it's 10 seconds of walk back time as well. So you're walking back to the fight, which is 20 seconds per death. 20 seconds per death will really add up over the course of time. Even there, that was like a really fast game, so that was maybe max like 8 minutes in total of a game. Maybe more like what, 7 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. And we died 6 times. If we're dying 6 times, that's 6 times 20, 6 times 20, 120 divided by 60. That's 2 minutes, right? So that's 2 minutes out of potentially like a 6-minute game, which is like a third of the game that we're spending dead. And that's not very great, because that means that when we're dead, we can't do anything at all. It's a lack of value, but it's not just a lack of value for, you know, an entire 2 minutes of your gameplay. And if we scale that upwards, let's say that it was a 14-minute game, now that's an entire 4 minutes of time that we're dead. It's not just a lack of value, it is negative value, because when we're dying, we're actively putting our team at a disadvantage. We're making it so that they're more likely to lose. We lose out on our ability to carry and hopefully win and climb and things like that when we're dead. So therefore, we want to make sure we're looking to stay alive longer, stay alive more, and the first step to that is identifying why we're dying. As we've said, the primary reason why you're dying is audio visual awareness. But besides that, other things that can cause deaths are going to be a misuse of abilities, such as if we use our E wrong in a duel, or we slide into their team on accident, or, you know, and then on top of that, there's going to be over-aggression, such as if we are just running into their team and jumping into them. There's going to be poor movement, such as if we're standing still into the Hanzo. You're going, and then another major one is going to be poor positioning, which you actually have been doing decent with. But that is another one that will get a lot of people killed. So main thing I'd say is think about your awareness because that's getting us killed a lot, and that'll be able to keep us in the fight. Now let's talk about application real quick of how do you put these things that we've been talking about into practice, and how do you pay attention better, because that sometimes it just seems a little bit vague and hard to implement. So you're going to be putting your awareness and other things into practice, pretty much the same thing you put anything into practice, and that is that while you're playing the game, you're going to make sure that you're actively focusing on things you're trying to work on. That means that you are not going to autopilot. You're not going to just play to play, and contrary to popular belief, you're not going to purely play to win. Instead, you are going to play to improve. And what that will actually look like within your gameplay is you're going to pick something out, like, let's say, awareness, and you're going to be thinking to yourself, awareness, 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 sound awareness, sound awareness, sound awareness, listen, 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 watch, watch, watch. And when you give yourself this constant stream of reminders to pay attention, well, then you're probably going to pay attention a bit more than if you weren't thinking about it at all. Right? That's kind of how awareness works, is it's paying attention. You pay attention when you pay attention. So that's putting the effort and the focus in. When you do that for a long enough period of time, it forms it as a positive habit. Once it's formed as a positive habit, then it just kind of comes naturally. You no longer need to really focus on it as much, and you can move on to something else to work on. And then final thing I would say is don't try to do everything all at once. That will be too overwhelming. Instead, focus on one category of things, or 1 to 3 things smaller within a category. All that makes sense?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else is there to discuss here. Let's see. We got another like 10 minutes to go over things before we start to wrap up. Why don't you like start queuing for a quick play game? Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to go over in the meanwhile. Last game was primarily deaths. Look to stay outside of, like, if the people are coming up to contest you on high ground, save your E for when they come up to you. Pay attention, watch when they come up to you. Back away from them. Don't, like, don't go into the Junkrat's preference range. So try to take high ground, but stay away from him on the high ground. That's really the main thing, is that we kind of have to duel those DPS off of us before we're able to do anything else. And it didn't really seem like we were putting too much pressure on them to get them off of us. We kind of just let them, play all over top of us, and then that just led to deaths, and that led to us not being able to get value. So we need to put pressure on their DPS, take them out of the fight, and then we're going to be able to actually do things and accomplish things in the fight. Okay. Minor thing. Once again, not sure if you've seen this already, but how your slide works is that if your slide does not connect with anything, you're not going to be able to jump out of it, and you're kind of going to be forced into the slide. But if your slide connects with a hard surface, like this, for example, we're going to be able to actually bounce off of it into something else. So as soon as your slide connects to something, then it can bounce. But even if I spam my spacebar here, I can't. Oh, I did it too early. Whoopsie. Even if I were to spam my spacebar while falling, I'm not going to be able to actually use it until I connect with a hard surface.
Alright.
Okay, so I have to actually touch the floor before I'm able to use it. So that can be handy in terms of like trying to do like parkour and stuff like that. Like if we're trying to get from one high ground to the next high ground, but maybe it's too far away, we can maybe do some parkour to try to get there, that sort of thing. So if I'm trying to get over to that high ground, I can do this to get over on top of it, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're doing quick play, why don't I let me see. I can add you in game real quick, and then that might be better quality. For some reason, I'm getting no friend bug again.
I'm actually on a different one.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Do you have that battle tag? BattleNet?
Yeah, it's still banana, and then I'll tell you the numbers when you need them. I just found a match actually, so I can't really see it.
Okay, you can see it if you go to your career profile, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. If you hover, maybe if you hover, or no, maybe it's possible
No.
not. Okay.
All right, let me go here. 24572.
You might. Oh, this actually might not work if I don't. If I can't see you online.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. I'll see if relogging does anything, and then otherwise I'll just watch a stream.
yeah. Is it delayed at all when you spectate, friend?
Not when you spectate them, but
Oh,
the stream audio was firstly quality's not as good as it is in game, and then also the audio was out of sync.
yeah.
Okay. I'm watching on my other monitor right now. Okay, I'm spectating though.
What's the rush? What's the rush? Damn. Railgun charged. Pain is inevitable. Breaking them down.
Nice kill.
Damn. Stay put. Railgun powered and ready to fire. This ends now. Heroes never die. Recharging.
Alright. Might want to give them some more space to walk in before we're ulting, wait for the fight to actually develop, whereas that was kind of the before fight, which just means that you're not going to really have as much to shoot at. And then even if you start to get kills, it more so just staggers them rather than winning a fight.
It was weird because I had ult for a while, and then earlier you said you'd be the first one to use it, so I kind of forced it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it was
it's
definitely.
you just want to be careful it's not too early, right? It's start a fight, not before fight. Really is the idea. And usually the measure of that is how close are the teams together? Are they pushing past the choke? Or, you know, are they using ult or, you know, or picks flying? Like this would be start a fight right here.
Yeah.
They were also down 2 people as well, I believe, when we ulted, which is another indicator of not start a fight.
Yeah.
Greetings. Nothing a quick repair won't fix. Railgun charged. Hold it. Precision and control. This ends now.
Okay. Generally speaking, but I think we'll talk about that. Yeah, we have 30 seconds to end the game here, but obviously misuse of ultimate because there's nobody alive. Make sure we're ulting when people are alive.
Going somewhere?
Yeah, it felt like it said there was a minute left like a while ago, so I thought it was a lot closer. I didn't look at the time, and I looked up after I ulted. It was definitely a mistake.
Guess I'm the air support. 10 seconds. Disrupting.
All right, leave real quick. We're gonna go over some stuff. So let's go over railgun real quick. So railgun usage, noticing that's a little bit inconsistent. Firstly, do you feel like it feels uncomfortable? One thing that a lot of people are recommending, so it's possibly once again you've already heard this and possibly already done it, of swapping your left and right click. Have you already done that or?
I have not.
All right, so that's something. If you're feeling like it's a little bit uncomfortable, a lot of people are recommending swapping your left and right click around, and that
Actually makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and that helps to keep the hit scan shot feel a little bit more natural with the left click, and then the projectiles come. Or sorry, I guess it's still hit scan, but I thought it was projectiles. But all right, it makes sense that it's projectiles. It's just
I think with the right click being less common for people to do, like in
Yeah, that's
annealing pretty much, then it probably moves your mouse more, like until you're used to it.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, this is a projectile. There's no chance it's not. Look at the delay. Yeah. That's why it doesn't have fall off damage.
I can't see your screen yet.
Oh, okay. I'm not streaming. That's my bad. I stopped earlier. Yeah. There's no chance it's not a projectile. Like you can notice it back here. Yeah. All right.
Railgun powered and ready
Alright.
to fire.
So try swapping them around. Another thing as well is make sure we're not randomly flicking. Flicking is in general has different. It's not bad. Tracking is not bad. They just have different strengths and weaknesses and when you want to be using them. Generally speaking, flicking is just anytime crosshair needs to travel from point A to point B really, really fast, and that's needed in certain instances. So let's say Tracer's blinking around us. Got to travel from point A to point B really, really fast. We got to flick around to Tracer to keep up with her because we can't really track that. Someone sneaks up behind us, got to flick around really quick to kill them. We're acquiring a new target, like let's say we kill somebody up here and we're acquiring a new target. We flick down to the next target. But we don't want to flick if we're like already aiming at people. Then we can do maybe more like micro flicks. So like we're trying to go up the head, we can flick up to the head. But what we're doing is more like mid to large flicks where we're already like on top of somebody with our crosshair, and then we go like that with our railgun, and then our railgun goes super off. So make sure we're not randomly flicking when not needed, and then that's an area we can just kind of continue to track them with our shots. Like there's no reason to not keep this smooth where we just added it. Of course I missed because I'm bad, but we can just continue to have it just integrated into our tracking. That way we're not randomly missing, which seemed like the case in a lot of scenarios. And then also, like we were talking about before, just make sure you're practicing and putting effort and attention into how we're using railgun, because that's going to be a large part of your kit as Sojourn is landing your railguns. Make sense?
Yeah.
Right. Let's do a quick wrap-up review, go over the main points of the session. Slide, could be using it to take high grounds. We went over a couple techie things. Using it, you can use it really quickly to get large vertical mobility. Then besides that, you're also going to have your E usage. You get a bit more value out of it. Make sure you're just placing the middle of it where you want it to be. Like sometimes you would like do something like this where you toss it in the room, whereas if you just place it right here, it doesn't damage you, it doesn't damage your teammates. So if you toss it at the floor where you want it, don't try to toss it where you want it unless you're kind of max ranging it, which is 30 meters in case you didn't know that. 30 meters is the range in which it will stop moving forwards.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can kind of time that to get good ease off. Just look to put more effort into how we're using that railgun, which we were just talking about. 82 break range on 200s. If we're in a duel and doing the damage ourselves on the person, then it's 50. If you are comboing it with your E, it's even less. So if we come in here and we're doing that, we can combo it at like 30 because that's doing damage too. Or if they're already low or something like that, right? So don't be afraid to add it into your shooting combo. Put more effort into it. Maybe swap the left click, right click. Overall abilities, I probably
Yeah, I
say
just
go to.
changed that.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say probably go to like about a medium or so for you to work on. Medium priority. Then comes ult usage. Ult usage is primarily just it's just going to be your railgun usage. I think that a lot of times we miss a lot of shots, which we can work on by practicing our railgun. I like that you shot in between your shots. That was great. Make sure that when you are using your railgun that there's actually people alive. Generally speaking, you also want to make sure you use it at the start of fights. Mid-fight is okay. Late fight is situational. In between fights, which includes before the fight, is going to be very rare do you want to be ulting then. And then it just gets more value the earlier you use it in the fight, just because that's the nature of how it works. But don't force it into a situation that's really bad for it, right? It's general. It's a general rule. Don't take it as an end-all, be-all. There are still going to be times at the start of fights where it's bad to use it. Take high grounds and good positioning when you're using your ultimate. Overall, that one probably also went about a medium priority for you to work on. Then comes your mechanics. Maybe like a couple minor things we didn't touch on, like make sure you're keeping crosshair placement, aim head level, go for headshots, learn your 9 burst, especially at ranges. It's really hard to see in the training range, but you're gonna notice it adds a lot more in, because let's say I just even shake up my crosshair a bit more. This will kind of imitate somebody's moving around a little bit. If I'm doing this, notice how it's just going to be much harder at these ranges to actually get kills, especially when when our shots have spread on them and we're not hitting our shots accurately. So add the 9 burst in, so just every once in a while tap click it, let go, and then you start shooting again. So click 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 click, right? And we're just kind of doing these tap bursts. Besides that, I don't know if there's too much else that we went over within mechanics. Overall, probably like low, maybe low medium priority, something in between that. Then we got your positioning. Generally speaking, cover usage is pretty solid, but just keep up cover usage. High ground usage, look to take it more often. I noticed that you're doing that later on in your your later games, which is good. Just look to keep that up. Take it more often. It's going to be fantastic positioning for you. Range, look to stay at your preference range. It's not an end-all be-all, but it's where you want to be standing. 15 to 30, roughly speaking, is your preference range, and then you're going to be able to do your max damage output and get kills easier from that range, whereas often we would step past that, or sometimes we would step within that, so we want to be careful. Overall, that positioning was probably going to be like higher end of a medium. And then finally we have awareness. Pay attention to where is your team at, where is the enemy team at, what's everyone up to. We actually didn't have time to go over it, but we probably should have gone over kill feed watching and just paying attention to whether or not you've won or lost the fight. But generally speaking, watch kill feed. It tells you whether or not you're winning or losing. Watch how many people you're up or down. Watch health bar, request healing when you're low. Pay attention to your audio awareness for footsteps, gunshots, abilities, ultimates. Pay attention to the people flanking you, right? Don't just kind of walk in a linear line and do slow pans. You want to look left and right and do a 360 and watch the Junkrat who's dive bombing you every single fight, right? There's just a lot of awareness things here and there that I think were very persistent, where we wouldn't make sure watching the time bank, things like that. There's a lot, like when you're not aware of what's happening around you, that's going to lead to you not being able to make proper decisions, like miss-ulting or things like that. Not noting the Junkrat diving on top of us. It's also that was probably the biggest thing in terms of survivability. So we can probably make this awareness / survivability, because they're kind of interconnected at this point. And make sure you're looking to stay alive, and primarily by being aware of your surroundings, and then that's going to lead to a lot more value. Overall, probably about like a medium high priority for you to work on. So to put that all in order, number 1, awareness / survivability. Number 2 is going to be your positioning. 3 is probably your ability usage, because as we work on our ability usage, even our railgun usage, that'll kind of help with our ult usage as well. And as we work on our positioning, that will help with our ult usage as well. So that will kind of hopefully be naturally bettered upon by the other things. Then comes our ult usage, and then finally comes our mechanics, kind of a few tiny things on there. Any questions?
No.
No? All right. Sounds good.